Hello, hello, hello! How are you guys doing this evening? It is currently 10:59 p.m. on this very chilly Thursday evening, going into Friday. Just dropped a degree. It was 32 degrees, and now it is 31 degrees outside. And I was just hanging out with my husband in bed for a little while and talking to the dogs. We're getting them ready about the idea of going to Florida. I'm like, Boo Radley, are you ready to go to Florida? Tucker was tearing into his lamekins tonight, his lady. I don't know how with no teeth he like chews on it, but he does. It must feel like good to his gums or something like that. I don't know. But he's so cute. He just like goes after it. And I said, Tukey, are you ready to go and get in the pool? Are you going to get in the pool? Go for a swim? He was so sweet. I love them so much. And Alex was watching, I don't know what show he was watching. Well, he was watching clips of stuff on YouTube. First he was watching that. Well, I heard him watching it downstairs, and I came upstairs because I love this video. It's that video where, I can't think of the guy, he's like a famous singer. He sings that song, I won't give up, no, not, dun, 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 no, not me. You know that song? And he goes to that school and he does it with like the kids choir. And I could hear Alex, and I was like, oh, I bet he's bawling his eyes out, because we both loved that video so much. And I went upstairs and Alex was like watching that video and he was like tearing up and stuff. I just think that's the sweetest video in the world. And so then he was watching Schitt's Creek clips. And then he was going to watch something on TV. I can't remember what it was. Some Spanish show. He watches a lot of Spanish television, like Spanish series and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I'm going to go vlog for an hour, and then I'll listen to a little bit of my audiobook, or go home and watch a little bit of this documentary that I started last night. And then I'm going to try to go to bed early again. Last night, I did not go to bed early. Last night, I stayed up late, and I regretted it, because I slept in really late today, and I felt like I didn't get a lot accomplished. And I woke up, and I was just kind of like, I wasn't in a great mood, but I just was kind of like, slowly moving around the house. And I was like, I just don't think I can sit down and film a bunch of videos. And then I sat there and I was like, oh, now, like, it just like came up, I like got on the computer and I was like looking at stuff. I wanted to tell you guys what the show is called. I actually just looked it up before I left to make sure I could tell you guys what it was called. And then it's called The Monster in the Shadows, and it's on Peacock or Oxygen, I guess. Peacock. But my friend said it was also on Oxygen. It's so good. What's the girl's name? She's from Mobile, Alabama. That is missing in the show, I'll tell you. Her name is an investigation of the 2012 disappearance of Alabama teenager Brittany Wood reveals a truth more shocking than anyone could ever imagine. It's so good. It's 3 parts, and I'm like halfway through the first part of it. But anyway, so I was sitting there at the computer doing stuff, and then all of a sudden I was like, well, I want to make a drama video. And Alex wasn't getting home until like 8:30 tonight, so I was like, is this like out of focus? Has this been out of focus since I started? I really can't see it. I feel like it's out of focus. There. So I was like, well, I've got time. So I made a drama video, and then I was like, well, first I was like, I'm just gonna do a live stream, because I hadn't like been live for like 2 weeks or something. So I really have been enjoying doing live streaming, so I was like, I want to do this, but I knew that Alex was coming home, and I just know that when he comes home, especially after a long day, he likes to relax and stuff. So I was like, I don't want, you know, him to walk in and me be like on this live stream, and then he can't like walk around and do whatever he wants to do, you know. So I got the drama video, started uploading it, and then I got in the live stream, and I did a live stream for it was only like about 30 minutes, and then he said he was coming home. So I got off the live stream, and then he came home, and we hung out for a little bit, and I got the drama video up, and the vlog still wasn't done. And so I was like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I just want to lay in bed and just like look at my phone for a little bit. And I was like, because he was so tired. And I said, okay. So I said, do you care if I do like, because I thought, well, maybe I'll do a live stream for the Vloggerinos on the vlog channel, because I don't typically do that. And I said, you know, do you care if I do a vlog or do a live stream for a little bit? And he was like, no, babe, not at all. It was like, you didn't have to get off when I came home. And I was like, I know. I said, but I just, you know, don't want you to have to feel like when you walk in the door that there's a bunch of stuff going on. So, plus I wanted to take like the ring light down and have everything like back to normal so he could just kind of relax. So he hung out in bed with the dogs while I was doing a live stream with you guys. And about 250 people came in. It was really fun. I left it up. If you guys want to see it, it's still on the channel, on my channel, my vlog channel. And the other live stream is up on my Peter Monn channel. So that was kind of my night. And yeah. Alex has these things that he does like late, like one Thursday, or I don't know if they're always on Thursdays, but I think they are the month. And it's like these like educational things, but like they're combined with like a dinner, you know, like all that networking kind of stuff. But he enjoys them. So that's like one night a month that he does that. Oh man. And I asked Tanya Jean if she wanted to get a fountain pop earlier. And she was like, what time? And that was after I had already said I was going to maybe go in and do a live stream on the vlog. And I said 10:30 with a question mark, and she goes, no thanks. And I said, is that too late? She goes, yeah. And I said, how about 10 o'clock? And she's like, and then I was like, we can just do it tomorrow night or something. I said, we can just do it another time. She's like, yeah, maybe tomorrow night. It's so funny because like, we used to do our fountain pops at like 11:30, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And Tanya always says anymore, she's like, I just can't stay up that late. Then the other day, I said to her something about this documentary, and she goes, oh my God, I stayed up till 4:30 in the morning watching that documentary. I shouldn't have. And I'm like, you don't want to stay out late for a fountain pop, like till 12, but you stayed up till 4:30 in the morning watching a documentary. She's like, it's totally different, because I'm like laying on the couch, relaxing. It is totally different, I get it. Just miss my Tanya Jean. I cleaned out the two junk drawers in our kitchen, and I found a bunch of, like, I went through, and a lot of stuff I just threw out, but there were like a lot of like office supply kind of things in there, cutesy stuff that I had bought like through the years, or had through the years, and that I wasn't going to use anymore because I had like got it down to what I wanted to, you know, keep. And so I have like a bag full of stuff that I want to give her, and so that was kind of why I wanted to see her too, so I could give her all that stuff. Now in the kitchen, I just have to clean out, well, our pantry's pretty clean, that area. I need to clean out a little bit, just reorganize some stuff. But other than, I mean, it really doesn't even need to be cleaned out. It just needs to be like organized a little bit. And then I need to clean out the cabinet underneath the drawers. And then that whole area is done. Like, I've got all of that stuff done. And then I need to do, that's when I need to start the basement. And I just need to do a little bit of it at a time. I was down there today. I was looking for, this is so crazy. I was thinking about this girl that I went to high school with. This is such a funny story. And when I was like a senior, she was a sophomore, and she was in orchestra with me. And she used to always wear this like biker jacket. She had really kind of cool style. And I used to tell my friends that she kind of reminded me of Sandra Bernhardt a little bit. Well, she like this huge crush on me. I know, it's hard to believe, right? But she did. And like her friends would be like, oh, she has such a huge crush on you and all this kind of stuff. And my friends knew it, and my friends did not like her. And they were like, they called her sex pot. Because she would always come around me and she'd be like, hi. And they were like, oh God, here comes sex pot. They didn't like her, right? Well, her mom, is this out of focus again? I just like really cannot tell, and I don't understand why it's going out of focus so much. Her mom and my aunt were good friends. Somebody is texting me, I don't know who it is. They were good friends, and like they knew each other through like junior league and some other things. Her older sister actually ended up being like a famous fashion model. She like, when we were like in high school, she was like in Milan and Paris and stuff like that as a famous fashion model. And I remember she came to like one of our orchestra concerts, and she was like beautiful. I remember my aunt always being like, her sister's a fashion model. Did you know that? But anyway, for some reason, like I must have dreamed about her or something, which was so random. But I was like, somehow I knew that like where she like lived and where she had gone to college. Like I had that knowledge, and I was like, how do I know that knowledge? Because like after I graduated from college, like the only time I would ever hear about her was from my aunt, and that was like hardly ever, right? Like before, when I was in high school, my aunt would say, oh, you know, her mom said that she has a crush on you and that she thinks you're very attractive. My aunt would say that to me. So anyway, but I couldn't remember why, like I knew that information about like where she had gone to college and where she was living now. And I was like, how do I know that? And then I was like, oh my God, it was at my aunt's funeral. At my aunt's funeral, her mom was there, and she came up to me and she was like, she still asks about you. Everyone was like, oh my God. I mean, she was a cute girl too. She went to a fantastic college, fantastic university, and lives in a really cool area today, and is probably living the high life and doing really well. But I was like, I can remember talking to her at my aunt's funeral and being like, oh my God, how is she? Who is texting me? And being like, how is she? And I don't know why my iTunes keeps on playing either. And being like, oh my God, how is she? And she was like, oh, she still asks about you every once in a while. And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah, she asks if I ever run into you or your aunt. And she was like, she's doing great, and she's married and has kids and lives here and blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so great. Tell her I said hi. Well, I couldn't remember her last name to save my life. I couldn't remember it at all. So I went down in the basement today, the mess of a basement down there, and I was looking for my yearbooks. Well, I could find my junior high yearbooks and my elementary school yearbooks are all like in these different boxes. I found Alex's senior yearbook. I found my mom's yearbooks from high school, but I could not find my yearbook. And I was like, where is my senior yearbook? I thought maybe like I had shown it in some video or something. I gotta pull in here because he's texting me. Maybe it's something I need to know. And the other problem is I'm down in the basement without my reading glasses, and so I'm like, you know, looking at stuff like this. So finally I find my yearbook, okay? It was like in a box, like over on the side. It was nowhere where I would have thought it would have been. So I'm like looking through, because I knew her name started with what it started with. And so I was like looking through that letter in the sophomore class. And I was like, where is it at? I'm like looking through. I'm like, oh my God, there she is. So anyway. Okay, so for everybody that asked, Michael and Emily from Pathology, I reached out to Michael, and he just texted me back, and he said, Peter, we are doing well. We will be back on Tuesday. So they will be back on Tuesday. I'm going to text him that we need to get together. I think they were just taking a break because he had been vlogging for so long, consistently. And Emily was like, yeah, he just wanted to take some time off, but he's coming back and we're doing really well. And so then Michael texted me, because I texted him tonight, and I was like, hey, people are asking like how you're doing, and they're worried about you and whatever. So he will be back on Tuesday. There's some exciting news for everybody. But anyway, I remember when I was talking to her mom, I was like, oh, her mom said something about like, well, you should reach out to her or something like that. And I was like, I mean, because we were friends. Like, I was friends with this girl. I just remember my friends hated her. They like absolutely, she was cute. She was cute, she was real tall and thin, and she dressed real cool, but she was kind of awkward and different like we were and stuff, you know? So I was kind of like, that would be kind of fun to see what she's up to these days. And so her mom was like, you should reach out to her. And I swear that the conversation went like this. And I was like, well, is she on Facebook? You know, because that's how, like, when you're my age, you reach out to people on Facebook, right? And she was like, yeah. And this, you know, her name is still her, you know, maiden name and whatever. You can look it up that way. And I got on Facebook today, and I mean to tell you, I searched everywhere on Facebook for her and could not find her. She does not exist on Facebook. So I was like, okay. And then I started thinking of somebody else, and so I was searching for her everywhere on the Facebook and couldn't find her either. So I was like, gosh, I wonder what happened. Where are my keys? I was like, where are my keys? My keys are in my pocket. So I don't know where they are, but I won't be talking to them anytime soon. Has that ever happened to you where you're like, I wonder what happened to so-and-so, and you start looking them up on Facebook, or you do find them and their life totally did not turn out the way that you thought it would? I mean, I'm sure that nobody that, like, you know, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, nobody, like, this is going to sound crazy. It's like nobody in my personal life is really that surprised about me doing YouTube. But I also don't think that they really understand it. Like, Jason, Melissa, and Tanya are the ones that understand it the most. Well, Valerie. But Valerie watches a lot of YouTube, so she gets it, and she also knows the players. So, like, within the drama stuff, like, Valerie watches all those people. Like, I mean, she isn't consistently. She loves that one. Well, she used to like Tati. And then she liked that. I know she's watching this vlog and she's going to correct me as I'm saying it, but that her name's like Lisa123 or something. She's like a mature, like, makeup person. She loves her. But you know, she'll, like, if I say to her, like, she'll say, what's going on with Jeffree Star? And I'll be like, well, blah, 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 whatever. Usually I say, I don't really want to talk about it, or I made my video. And she'll be like, oh, is it this? Or, I mean, if I said to her, you know, like Nathan, she would know that Jeffree Star's ex was Nathan, or she would know that Trisha Paytas was, like, you know, had gotten married to Moses. Like, Valerie, she understands that stuff. Tanya understands that stuff now too, because Tanya follows enough of it and watches enough YouTube to understand that. Alex doesn't know the people. He could care less about the people. He doesn't, but he understands YouTube. Jason and Melissa, like, they get it on, like, kind of a different level. I will tell you what is funny, that the majority of times that anybody comes up to me in public and says, like, are you Peter Monn, is when we are with Melissa and Jason loves it. Like, he eats it up. He's like, oh my god, oh my god. He, like, thinks it's we were, like, the first time that it ever happened we were with them was when we were at Maggiano's, and the waitress, I knew the waitress from back in the day from something else, and so I was talking to her, and she said, there's a server in the back, and she's, like, dying because she's, like, one of your biggest fans. And I was like, oh, really? I said, that's so sweet. She's like, she watches, like, every channel, every video that you do. She was like, would you mind if she came out here and said hi to you? And, so I was like, yeah, no problem. I said, please send her out. I said, I'm going to tease her a little bit. And she said, okay. So she came out, and she was like, hi. She was like, I'm really sorry. She was like, I was so embarrassed to ask her, but you know. And I said, I just want to let you know, like, I really appreciate you watching my videos, but it is rather rude. We're having a private dinner, and I would really appreciate, you know, if you didn't come up during our private dinner and interrupt. You should have seen her face. And I was like, girl, I'm totally joking. I said, I'm totally joking. I told her I was going to tease you. And she started laughing. So anyway, she stood there and she talked for a little bit, and I introduced her to Alex and Melissa and Jason, and she was so sweet. And that was, like, the first time that it happened. But I swear, the only times that we were, like, that anybody ever, like, Ultra had happened a couple times. The only times that it ever happens, I swear, is whenever, one time we were sitting waiting for a table to go to Cheesecake Factory, and this girl was walking out, and she literally about fell over herself. She, like, was walking out the door, and she, like, turned, and we were sitting there, Melissa and I, and she turned and she went, Like, she goes, Peter Monn? And I go, yeah. And she goes, oh my God, I was just watching your video. And so anyway, but like they don't, like people, like when people, like Alex saw one of our old friends tonight at this thing, and like they'll ask, like, so what does Peter do now? And Alex is like, he makes videos on YouTube. They don't really understand it. I think they think like I make instructional videos or something, you know, like I'm doing videos like how to tie your shoes or something. I don't know. I don't think they really understand it. You know what I mean? Which is fine. I don't know that I would have understood it either, you know, but like, when I tell people I have to go vlog, which is always a good out to like, if I'm like at something that I don't want to be there super late, I'll be like, well, I have to go vlog tonight, you know, and they're like, what's that? I'm like, well, I vlog every night, and you know, and they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, I drive around in my car and I talk and whatever, and they're like, is it live? And I'm like, no. They like don't understand the difference between it being, oh, Caroline understands it, kind of. Caroline gets it, kind of. But they don't understand, Caroline gets it, she pretty much gets it. They don't understand, like, the live versus posting a video. Like, most people don't understand that. So, yeah. It's kind of easy though, because people don't understand it. I don't really have to explain it, because they don't ask a lot either. It's not like most people are like, so explain to me what it is you do. Well, I do reviews of fast food, and I drive around in a car and tell stories about my life. By that point, they're kind of done. They're kind of like, what? I don't understand this at all. It is fun. I have the most amazing life. I really do. I like, every day I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe this is my life. Like, this is just such a cool life. Somebody else is texting me. I was going to say something about being a vegetarian, because I was doing this video today about Jaclyn Hill. Talk about it in a second. This van right here, you guys, I will show you. This van sitting right here has been there for like the last 2 or 3 nights, just parked in this little off-side street. I wonder if Arby's has anything new that I can review. I don't think they do. Who is texting me? It's Michael again. I said we should get together, and he said, yeah, that would be great. So I was doing this video today about Jaclyn Hill over my drama video. It's not really about this, but it is kind of. She was tweeting out questions about veganism. And the question that she was basically asking was, you know, like, why do people have such an issue with vegans when they, like, decide that they're not going to be vegan anymore? Like, they're going to be pescatarians, or they're going to be this, or they're going to be that, or whatever, but, or they stop being vegan whatsoever and they start eating meat again, you know? That's what she was basically asking. That she was like, I understand that people are passionate about this, but like, why are people... I thought it was an interesting question from somebody that's not vegan. And I almost kind of wondered in all of this, like, is Jaclyn Hill thinking about being vegan? But she's really afraid that if she tries it and she doesn't do it, that people are going to absolutely eat her alive, right? And, you know, like, I think it's great. Anybody that wants to try it, you know, my recommendation is, if you're a person that's lives your life online like I do, I would make it very clear from the get-go. I don't know how long I'm doing this. I'm just trying this out. I want to, and I don't know really, like, these are my reasons for why I'm starting it. They may change over time, and I'm going to do my best. You know, and then just be honest about your journey as you go, and be like, you know what, like, tonight I had a turkey sandwich. I was craving meat, and I ate a turkey sandwich, and I don't know that being a vegan is for me. I don't know that I want to do it, you know? But I have to tell you what is so funny you know, I've been a vegan now, or I'm not a vegan, I'm a vegetarian. And, so when I was reading through these like comments that people were leaving and stuff tonight, and I really, like, I talked about this at length on my vlog not too long ago. I feel like it was like a month ago or something I talked about it. Like, I really struggled with the vegetarian thing on my vlog. Like, if you ask me in the course of doing your vlog, what has been one of the most difficult things to handle? I mean, definitely being a vegetarian would be at the top. And I know it probably doesn't seem like that to you guys, but here was the thing, was that I started it, for me, I really, when I started it, I didn't know, like, what it was. And I don't know what I said in my last vlog, so y'all want to compare the stories and whatever, that's for you. But I'm just telling you where I feel, how I feel today. But, you know, like, when I started being a vegetarian, the reasons why I started it are not the same as the reasons why I continue it today. And that's just how it is. And, you know, I really started it because I watched all this propaganda and I read all these articles and stuff about how if you are a vegetarian for 30 days, that you minimize your carbon imprint on the world. And, you know, I'm always somebody that is like, what are some small things that I can do so that, you know, like, to, in small ways, what are small little just things that you can do on a daily basis that can just, like, you know, change the world a little bit. And I thought, okay, so if me doing this just for 30 days, and it has a lot to do with, like, you know, the factories and all that kind of stuff, and the carbon monoxide, it's just all kinds of things. Now, I have gotten a lot of comments recently from people saying it's actually not true that vegetarians leave more of a carbon imprint on, I don't know, that's not the reason why. But at the time, that's why I did it. It was like a PETA video that I watched, and it was like a 3 or 4 minute video, and it was like, watch this video and be a vegetarian for 30 days. It wasn't about being a vegan, it was about being a vegetarian. So I did. I think that was actually the very first time that I was a vegetarian, which would have been the year that my mom passed away, which was, I think, 2008, which is when I would have started that. I can't remember if I started it before or after, but anyway, I think it was after. And that I had watched it then. So then, 4.5 years ago, August, 4.5, I don't know what year that would have been, I decided I was going to do it again. And I really didn't think much about it when I started it. I thought, okay, I'm going to try this thing, and, you know, if I do it for a couple days, I do it, and if I can't make it to 30 days, if you guys watch the vlogs from back then, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, I talked about it a lot. I was like, I don't know that I'm going to go past 30 days. I was, like, real honest about it. I was like, I don't know. And I honestly, I would say from that first 30 to 90 days, I thought about being a vegetarian, like, every day. Like, I thought about what I wasn't eating, what I couldn't eat, on and on and on, right? Well, what I also was very aware of was there is this huge criticism online, okay, of people that are vegetarians and vegans that live on the internet, like YouTubers and TikTokers, I guess, and Instagrammers and whatever, that say that they're vegetarian and vegan, and then they stop being vegetarian or vegan, and they're just eaten alive. Like, they are just literally eaten alive, right? And I was so terrified of that I was like, what do I do? Like, and I have to say that honestly, at the early parts of me being vegetarian, that was probably part of what pushed me through continuing to be a vegetarian, because I think I may have given it up if it wasn't for that, because I was really afraid of what the comments were going to be, you know, and I would mess up something, and I would screw something up, and I still do all the time, you know, and, so, you know, somebody would reach out to me and be like, hey, did you know that A, B, and C? And I'd be like, okay, or whatever, you know, it's like, so, and then people would say, don't call yourself vegetarian, call yourself plant-based, you know, why are you not vegan? If you're going to be vegetarian, you should be vegan. I mean, it was like, oh my God, it was a lot, right? And you don't know what you're doing. And if you go here and you go there and they don't do this and they don't, and I just was like, God. And I can remember I called my friend, and she's been a vegetarian for like 31 years, right? And I told her that, and she started laughing, and she was like, listen, you're doing the best you can. You're learning as you go. She was like, don't do it for them. Do it for you. It stopped. I was going to say, I don't know if this part caught or not, but I was saying that I think she's vegan now. And she said to me, listen, do it for you. Don't do it for them. And I never had started it doing it for anybody else. I had started it doing it for me, right? But then all of a sudden, I was getting all these harsh comments, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do about all this. And it really stressed me out, like, a lot. I mean, it stressed me out a lot. And so I called her up on the phone, and we were talking, or I can't remember if I called her on the phone or if I saw her or whatever, but anyway, we were talking, and she said, hey, listen, she said, I don't know a vegetarian or a vegan that hasn't eaten something that had meat byproducts in it that they didn't know that in it, or that has cross-contaminated themselves in going to a restaurant. And cross-contaminated means like you eat something but it's cooked on the same grill that they cooked meat on, or and that has happened to me. Like, we went to Benihana one night with Melissa and Jason, and I got horribly sick. I got fried rice, they got fried rice, but mine was vegetarian and theirs wasn't. They cooked it on the same grill. I didn't know that. I even told the guy, I said, I have to have it cooked on a different grill, because I'm usually tell them that. When I go to Burger King, I'm like, can you cook my Impossible Whopper in the microwave? Whenever I typically go and have like something vegetarian, unless I'm doing a review for it, I usually ask them that, right? So she said to me, I don't know a lot of vegans or vegetarians that haven't been cross-contaminated. You learn as you go. Just do your best. She's like, it's like, you know, this is where, like, when Trisha Paytas said, I guess I have to start over being a vegan. There's no starting over. I mean, it's not like sobriety, right? It's just like you do your best. You learn as you go. It's not like you don't know everything when you first start. I mean, if I told you guys a list of all of the foods that I did not know were like, I mean, there are certain things out there that you would just, you would assume and swear were vegetarian that are not vegetarian. And so, you know, for example, certain kinds of cheeses are made with meat byproducts. I didn't know that until I started, like, educating myself on it, or somebody would tell me. That's how you learn, right? And then you don't eat it again. Okay, simple as that. So, anyway, for example, okay, I'm really mad about this. Well, I'm not really mad about it, but I'm just like, I got an email from somebody that works at Crumble Cookies that told me in the past, I did these videos. The last video that I did where it had marshmallows in it, because marshmallows are made from gelatin, and gelatin has animal bone marrow in it. That's what it's made from. And this, first of all, the whole conversation about gelatin to begin with is just one that there are so many vegetarians that eat gelatin that are like, I don't consider that. And then there's a lot of vegetarians like myself that are like, I do consider that. So anyway, I did this video reviewing the crumble cookie. I think it was the Rice Krispie Treat crumble cookie, and I didn't eat it. And the reason I didn't eat it was because it was made from marshmallows. And I got an email, and I almost think maybe it was like a fake Crumble person now. It wasn't like a real, because I didn't look, you know, it just said, this is so-and-so from Crumble Cookies. And we wanted to inform you that the marshmallows and I had read something that said, we do not use, our cookies are not vegan, we do not use vegan marshmallows. I swore I had read something like that, because I usually look that stuff up at Crumble Cookies. So anyway, yeah. So I got this email, and they said, oh, we don't use we don't have, the kind of marshmallows that we use don't have gelatin in them. They're different kinds of marshmallows, which I thought was kind of bizarre, because marshmallows that don't have gelatin in them are typically really expensive. And so for a company to use vegan marshmallows in a cookie, I think would be like, I think it would be an astronomical cost. You know what I mean? Not that I don't think it would be great if they did, but I'm just telling you that I think it was interesting to me. So I did this review like a couple days ago, and it was the what do you call it? The frozen hot chocolate or whatever. It had marshmallows on the top. I did not eat any of the marshmallows. I ate around them. But immediately the next day, this woman that does work with Crumble, I mean, she's huge at Crumble, and she and I have communicated a lot, and she's the one that sent me the swag and all that kind of stuff, you know, the Crumble cookie merch and all that kind of stuff. She reached out to me and she emailed me and she said, Peter, I know that the gelatin in the marshmallows is a huge issue. I don't know who told you that we don't use gelatin in our marshmallows, but we do. And she said, I just want you to know, she said, because I know that this is something that really is important to you. Today, I also got a direct message from somebody that said, I just wanted, as a vegetarian, I wanted to inform you that there is gelatin in Crumble cookies, so I won't eat the marshmallows anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it's not that deep to me, but you learn as you go. And, I did my best, you know, like I researched it, and then I got this email from somebody at Crumble, and I just took it, you know, believed it and whatever. So, but people online, but here's my thing, right? Like, if I am just being a vegetarian or whatever, because that's what I want, or pescatarian or vegan, because that's what I want to do, and that's how I want to choose to live my life, I think that's one thing. But I think that when you're, let's say if your whole channel is dedicated to being vegan, right? And you're doing like vegan recipes, and you're selling merch that is related to being vegan, you know, like if it, let's say if your t-shirts say vegan on them or something, or, you know, like a lot of these people will do classes that you can pay for, like $19.99 a month, you know, vegan lifestyle or whatever. And there was actually a girl like this that I covered several years ago, because she was doing all this. She was saying she was vegan on Instagram and in her YouTube videos and stuff like that. And then somebody took all these pictures of her, I think she was from Florida actually, and she was eating like sushi and raw shrimp and eel and stuff like that, I think, and other kinds of raw sushi out at this restaurant, and people were like, she's not vegan. Okay, that's a different story to me. I understand why people would be upset about that, right? Like, you've based your entire whatever. But I feel like it's different when you're just like online and you're like, yeah, and I'm a vegetarian. I think it's honestly more helpful for me to get on video and talk about the tough times that I've had being vegetarian. You know, today I do it because A, it is a healthier lifestyle. You know, it is. It's been proven that it is. And B, because like Jenna Marbles said, I couldn't eat my pets. And, you know, that's where people come to me and they're like, yes, but you still wear leather products. Or you still, you know, like, have you seen the milk industry and how horrible? Yes, I have. I've seen the videos and whatever. And I'm trying to get better and better as I go. And when I, you know, like, I drink milk alternatives, and but I'm not gonna lie. I mean, there are things that I love cheese. I'm just not gonna lie about it, you know? And maybe one day I will be a vegan. I know it's a healthier lifestyle. I know that. And I know that I'm doing more for the world if I'm vegan. I also don't preach to people about it. You know, it's like, if you want to eat a big slab of steak every night and chicken fingers and on and on and on, do you? You know, like, that's got to be on you. Like, I don't get into the conversations about where people will say, like, humans are carnivores and we're supposed to eat meat, blah, blah, blah. That's actually 100% inaccurate. I've read all the articles and stuff. And my father, who eats meat, you know, told me, he goes, being a vegetarian and being vegan is two of the healthiest lifestyles that you can possibly have. That you're reducing, like, certain diseases that we get as humans by not eating meat byproducts and meat. So, you know, but those are the reasons why I do it today. I'm not a perfect example of it. I'm, you know, I learn as I go, but I feel like I'm doing better than when I wasn't a vegetarian at all. You know what I mean? So I do feel like I'm a little bit better. And, but you know what? Okay, this is what was making me want to have this whole conversation to begin with, was So when I like literally never wake up and think to myself, God, chicken fingers sound good today, or a cheeseburger. Like, I never really think that. In fact, Tanya, I was asking her what they did last night, and she was telling me that Eric and her went to Menards. Well, right in front of Menards is Culver's, and I know Tanya loves Culver's. And so I said, oh, what'd you guys have for dinner? And I was like, because I was waiting, you know. And she goes, well, we went to Culver's. And I said, I knew it. I knew you were going to say you went to Culver's, because they love Culver's. And she usually gets a tenderloin from there. She's like, yeah, I got me a good, juicy cheeseburger, you know. And it's like, back in the day, if somebody would have said that to me, I think also partly because there's a lot of different, like, vegetarian options today. But if somebody had said that to me back in the day, I would have been like, oh my God, I want a cheeseburger so bad. But I don't think that. But what was so weird today was reading that about Jaclyn Hill. Like, for the first time in a long time, I, like, started craving, like, I started thinking about it. You know, because I said in my video, I said if tomorrow I decided that I didn't want to be a vegetarian anymore and that I was going to start eating meat, I would just do it. And I would get in a video. I would probably get on my vlog first, and I would say, hey, just want you guys to know, like, I decided to go back and start eating meat again. And if you have a problem with it, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, it's my life, not yours. So, I mean, but that's kind of how I would be about it. You know what I mean? I don't have that plan to do that. I don't really know. I was thinking about it today because I did have this kind of like in conversation in my head, because after I was reading these tweets and Jaclyn Hill was asking these questions, I was thinking to myself, like, I don't know why I was craving meat. And it was weird because I was craving like cheeseburger, roast beef sandwich from Arby's, which I mentioned earlier. That roast beef sandwich from Arby's was like what I was craving, with like lots of horsey sauce on it. I don't know why. And I don't even, to be honest with you, I don't think I could eat one. I think if I sat down and tried to start eating it, I don't know. I mean, if I was forced, I think you know, if I had a gun to my head kind of thing, like, and I think I could do it. You know what I mean? I know I could do it in that situation, but I don't know what would get me to the point where I could just be like, yeah, I'm done doing this, being a vegetarian. Because this is the thing, and this is what is so different in the Midwest from 2008 to today. I mean, there's so many options. I mean, even like when you go to Whole Foods, or, you know, I haven't really been to that market district much, but I think only one time. Or if you go to like Whole Foods or Fresh Time, I mean, like, the majority of their stuff is vegetarian, you know, or plant-based. So there's so many different options of things that you can get that are good. Oh, I know one of the things was that Fresh Time, I was eating this broccoli crunch salad, okay? I was obsessed with this broccoli crunch salad. And it had broccoli, this creamy dressing in it. I was getting it all the time. This was when I first became a vegetarian. And some of you out there, if you watched me back then, you might remember. And this was the other thing that kind of like upset me, was, you know, if somebody out there is a vegetarian and they're like, oh, Peter, did you know that, like, because, you know, people started sending me Swedish Fish because they knew that I loved, like, jelly candies, and Swedish Fish is actually one of the only vegan jelly candies like that. And other people have sent me other vegan candies, and I thought that was really nice. If somebody wants to be helpful or something like that, like, that's cool. But there were people that were actually, you know, people that don't like me, that were actually going in and, like, everything that I was eating, they were looking at the ingredients list. I'm like, seriously? Like, and I'm not saying that I shouldn't have been doing that for some of the things, but then they were getting in my videos, like on my vlog, and they were writing comments, and they were like, did you know that such and such actually has this? And I was like, no. And this is a good example, like, you don't know. And they were so rude in how they said it, right? And I got this person that kept on commenting about this broccoli crunch stuff. And the first time they said it, I stopped having it, right? But then I mentioned it like twice more, and they kept on commenting about it. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And they said, do you know that there's actually bacon in the broccoli crunch or whatever? So the next time I went to Fresh Time, I got on the recipe thing, and it was literally like the 15th ingredient down. Like, that's how low amount of like bacon bits there were in there. But I stopped getting it. I was like, damn, I love this stuff, but it's got bacon in it, you know? And so it's like you live and you learn, you know, and that would be what I would recommend to anybody wanting to try to be vegetarian or even vegan. You know, I don't know, I'm not vegan, but I think the mindset is the same as you live and you learn, you know. It's like, I'm not a perfect example of that. There are going to be things that I continue to learn and mess up as, you know, whatever. I've been to restaurants before when you straight up, you'll look at somebody and be like, what are your vegetarian options? And they'll point them to you. Unless, like, when you go to a restaurant, like, sometimes they'll have, like, the V next to it, you know, like the V for vegetarian. But when you go to a restaurant and they don't have, like, the V on it, and you'll say, okay, which one of your items on this entree list are, like, vegetarian? And they'll go, this, this, and this. And you'll look at one of them and you'll say, this ravioli right here, this is vegetarian. And they'll say, yeah, there's no meat in that at all. And you'll say, are you sure? And they'll say, yeah, absolutely, that ravioli is one of our vegetarian meals. And then they'll bring it out and it'll come out and you'll be like, no, there's something there's something, and it'll be something so small that you wouldn't think of. And then you're like, actually, this ravioli has, I mean, I'm trying to think of an example where that's happened with me and now I can't think. Well, at steakhouses, some of the specialty mac and cheeses, like, they don't cook like the steak in or the lobster in, but they'll put like a lobster, like, will be in, or like oyster flavoring or whatever. Oh, beef stock and chicken stock. There's a real good example. You know, they'll say it's, you know, whatever, but like it's made with beef stock or chicken stock, and you're like, well, I don't eat beef stock or chicken stock, right? And so it's not vegetarian. And they're like, oh. And there's a lot of vegetarians that are like, you know, I would eat chicken stock or beef stock because it's not like eating like animal meat. But I try to do the best I can with not eating anything related to that, you know? So, so anyway, but I was thinking about that. I was like, why did it take this thing today for me to start craving meat? I thought that was really weird. You know, some people believe that, like, if you're not getting enough iron or you're not getting enough, that's when you start craving meat. I don't know, there might be some truth to that. I have never been nutrient deficient as a result of being a vegetarian. In fact, my neurologist has highly pushed the vegetarianism with me and says that he thinks it's great for my epilepsy. There was a time that he was kind of a little concerned about it and was like, I don't know, I'm going to need to look into this and see if this is, like, I talked about that on here as well. He was like, I don't know that I think this is the greatest diet for you, being epileptic and stuff like that. But since then, he's read articles and educated himself, and he's like, yeah, I think it's, you know, we actually just talked about that, not when I was in for my EEG, but the time before that. And, so I think one of the other misconceptions about vegetarians are that they're thin, too. Hi. I'm Peter, and I'm a vegetarian, and I'm not thin, so. But one of my goals this year is to get to really more, like, plant-based, like fruits, vegetables. I know I say that all the time. I just love bad food. I just do. I love bad food so much. Oh my God. I'm going to try to go to bed early tonight, like I said, and Alex has to be up really early tomorrow. And so I was thinking, ooh, maybe I'll go and have breakfast again tomorrow and at that Rise and get that cinnamon roll. And I was like, Peter, you do not need that cinnamon roll tomorrow morning. But I might go have it because it does sound good. But then I'll want to come home and sleep for 5 hours is the problem. And I have this recovery commitment tomorrow afternoon. What was I going to say? I can't remember. Oh, man. But then, like, that craving kind of switched to, like, what I was saying, where I was like, I don't really know what it would take today for me not to be a vegetarian anymore. Like, I really don't. Like, I don't know. I mean, it would probably have to be some situation where like either like a medical reason, like I needed to be getting more, you certain things that you can only get from meat, which I don't know a lot of doctors that say that to people. My doctor kind of insinuated it at one point. He was like, I really do think that you need to be eating meat. I was like, well, but he changed his mind on that, like I said. The only other reason would, I think, if I just was like, F it, I'm gonna start eating meat. But here's the thing, like, even, there's just so many options today. Like, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, I don't know. I don't really know what it would take. But I will tell you that if I was gonna stop being a vegetarian, I would come on here and tell you guys that I had stopped being a vegetarian. I just like here. It is a hot topic for people, though. Well, most of the vegetarians and vegans that we know, though, are like super, like, that I know, well, other than my friend, they're kind of preachy. And I remember his friend that passed away, he dated this girl for a little while. And we went out to dinner with her, and she had, like, so we went out to dinner, like, on a Saturday, and she had made dinner for Alex, like, and her boyfriend, like, on, like, the Wednesday or Thursday, and I couldn't go. I can't remember. Maybe it was a Tuesday, and it was, like, my meeting night or something, but there was some reason why I couldn't go. And she thought I was coming, and she was real excited because I was a vegetarian, and she was a vegan, and she was making, like, vegan, like, because Alex knew that I loved, like, Chinese food, right? And so she was making, like, vegan crab meat rangoon, vegan all this, vegan this, vegan this. And he was, like, bragging about it and all this kind of stuff. And so Alex, like, sent me, he's like, oh, she's got this whole vegan kitchen and stuff. And so he, like, sent me this picture, and they were, like, standing in the kitchen, and she's a cute girl. She's real sweet. But she was, like, in the background, it was, like, she had, like, bought all these things, and they were like these like placards and stuff, and they, like, that you would get like at the Meijer or Target or whatever and put up somewhere, it says, like, I have one that says, like, I've got a couple of them that people have sent me, but one that says, with enough coffee I can achieve anything, or something like that. But I don't know if I have that in my kitchen. I used to have it in my office. But it said, like, only vegan cooking here, or vegan chef, and it said all this vegan stuff, and I was like, oh my god, that's like overboard. Like, she must have been like a vegan since, like, she was born or something, because I have known a lot of people that, like, were born, vegetarian and whatnot, or not born vegetarian, but, like, their whole families have been vegetarian their whole lives. So, typically more liberal, or I would say hippie-minded people, back in the day, but I have known a few. And so we went to dinner, like, that Saturday night or something, and she was like, when the menu came out, and I remember we went to Blue Sushi, which I'm getting ready to pass right here on my right. And Blue Sushi is this adorable restaurant. If you ever in Indianapolis, go. It's very chic, but not dressy, super dressy. It's like, it's something you'd see in New York City or Chicago or something. It's just really cool atmosphere, and they play loungy music, and it's very dark and stuff like that. Here, I'm going to show you. I'm passing it right now. See? It says right there, Blue Sushi. Blue Sushi Grill. So anyway, we went there with them. That was, God, I don't know how long ago that was. Well, before Alex's friend passed away. So probably 4 years ago. And the menu came out, and Blue Sushi has incredible, not vegetarian, vegan options. They have incredible vegan options. Like, for sushi rolls, I think they have like 15 or 20 vegan sushi rolls. Vegan salad, vegan soup, and all this kind of stuff. She asked, I mean to tell you, so many questions. She was like, now, is this really vegan? And they're like, it's vegan. It says, vegan on there, made with all this kind of stuff. And so anyway, the conversation kind of goes on, and, Alex is like trying to bring us together by having this vegan vegetarian conversation, and I'm kind of like, yeah, whatever. And at that point, I think I'd been a vegetarian for what? Maybe this was like 2-3 years ago. I don't know. I feel like I'd been a vegetarian for a while by the time that this had happened. It was probably like a month before he passed away. A month or two, maybe a month or two before he passed away. So we're sitting there, and she's, you know, really informing us of all of the reasons why you need to be vegan, and that these things they've ordered off the menu are not healthy for them, and, you know, all of that, which I don't do any of that. And I looked at her and I said, well, I said, you know a lot about, I mean, I was like, you know a lot more than I do about this stuff, you know? And I said, how long have you been vegan for? And she goes, 3 weeks. And I was like, oh no, ma'am. And she ain't vegan no more. I mean, she had been a vegan in a long time. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh no, don't even get me started. And this is like, that's the stuff that cracks me up, you know? Live through a couple people sitting at a dinner with you. I mean, this experience is real fun when you're a vegetarian. What you need to do is have you a steak. See, son, now if you had you a filet or a New York strip that set you free, you're not gonna live very long eating just all those vegetables and peas and carrots. And I'm like, yeah, that's not what I eat, but okay. I mean, I have had to have so many people say that to me through the years. Like, if you're a vegetarian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You get that one, you know, asinine person that's like, what you need is a double cheeseburger from Burger King, okay? It's like, shut up. Like, seriously, let me eat what I want to eat. I'm not saying anything to you, you know? And it's just like, cracks me up when people say that. They always want to educate me on, you know? And I'm just like, oh, you're probably right. Like, yeah, okay. It's like a couple years ago, I read the book. Well, I read both of them, Skinny Bitch and Skinny Bastard, which are diet books, but they're basically vegan propaganda is what they are, okay? But they're fantastically written and they're right in your face. And they have a lot of statistics. Well, one of the things that they talk about is the danger of drinking Diet Coke, because it has, I don't want to say it's not asbestos, but it sounds like that. Something like that, right? In it, that has never been FDA approved. I don't know, something. It's not, like, you're not supposed to drink it. And I thought, this isn't true. And I called my dad up on the phone, because I drank Diet Coke. Well, I did back then, you know. I drank Diet Coke like it was going out of style. And I called my dad up on the phone, and I said, hey, Dad, I said, I'm reading this book, and a lot of it's like, I mean, they really go in there and talk about heart disease, lung disease, all these things related to, like, things you eat. Like, I mean, it's really in your face. If you want to read a great book, and it's very in layman's terms. Skinny Bitch is for women, Skinny Bastard is for men, but it's basically the same book. But I would recommend Skinny Bitch because it's got, you know, I don't know. They're fantastically written, though. And I said to my dad something about Diet Coke. I mean, he about came unglued. He goes, you aren't still drinking Diet Coke, are you? And I said, yeah, Dad, aren't you guys? And he goes, oh, no. Oh, no. He goes, we stopped drinking. Because we would go over their house. I mean, like, you know, it felt like it was just years ago. And my dad would be like, you know, I mean, now, it was weird because when we had the conversation, I was like, he hasn't asked me if I wanted a Diet Coke lately. He's asked me if I wanted a Squirt, because my dad is probably the only person in the United States that drinks Squirt to this day. I saw it at the gas station the other day. It was like every other 2-liter was out. Like, they were out of everything. Dr. Pepper, root beer, Sprite, Diet Coke, Diet Pepsi, Coke, Diet, you know, Mountain Dew, everything. The only thing they had was Squirt, because nobody drinks it. My dad loves Squirt. So, and root beer, but he calls it root beer. And so, but he drinks diet root beer. So I said, what is it that they have? What's the word for it that they have? You guys know what I'm talking about. So he goes, oh no, he goes, we stopped. And I was like, oh yeah, he hasn't asked me if I wanted a Diet Coke last time I've been, because we would come in and he'd be like, Pete, because he calls me Pete, he'd be like, Pete, you want a Squirt? Alex, you want a glass of wine or a beer or something? And he was like, oh, we stopped drinking. He goes, that stuff will kill you. He was like, you should not be drinking Diet Coke. And I was like, okay, but I didn't stop. So, see, I don't do everything that's healthy for me. Hardly. Hardly. Charlie! I was like, what did that remember? Hardly. Charlie! That's at the end of Sweet Dreams with Jessica Lange. Charlie! When I shouldn't be laughing, but it cracks me up because how do they know that that's the last thing that she said? How do they know that that's the last thing Patsy Cline said before she died in that plane? Charlie! I love that movie so much, and I love Coal Miner's Daughter. And when, I can't think of her name now, but she's the woman that played the mom in the Chevy Chase holiday vacation movies, Beverly D'Angelo. And she's like, she plays Patsy Cline in Coal Miner's Daughter when Loretta Lynn gets pregnant. And my favorite part is, well, one of my favorite parts is when Loretti, she goes and tells Dew, her husband, she opens the door at that carnival when she's been singing with Patsy Cline, and that woman's all over her husband. She said, ladies, she says, you want to keep that hand, you better get it off my husband. And she gets out of the car, and the woman looks at her, and she says, you don't know who I am. And Loretta Lynn says, I may not know who you are, but I know what you are. I love that line so much. And then she goes up, and her and Patsy Cline, they do a duet of I'm back in baby's arms. But my favorite line ever from Coal Miner's Daughter, Patsy Cline, you know, played by Beverly D'Angelo, is when Loretti tells her that she's pregnant with like her 14th kid. And she says, what are you gonna do, Loretti? And it stopped. Anyway, Patsy Cline's like, what are you going to do, Loretti? And she goes, I don't know, have it, I guess. And then she's like, I think she has twin girls after that is what she has or something. But Patsy Cline goes, she's like, okay, Loretta, I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. She goes, we're going to go out. How does she say it? She says, she said, I'm trying to think of how she says it in what order. She says, we're going to go out and buy every bit of maternity clothes that we can find. And what we can't buy, we're going to steal. And what we can't steal, we're going to make. I love that part right there so much. Oh my God. Oh my God, I love that movie. I love that movie. I love you, Loretta. Another one of my favorite scenes is when Loretta Lynn is on tour and she's so worn out, and then somebody pulls her hair. And she goes, somebody done pulled my hair. And they go, I got it. They pull her hair right out of her scalp. They get a piece of her hair and everything. And then Dew's at home, and he's just drunk on the couch because he's got to stay at home with the kids, you know. And they have that huge house in the middle of nowhere. And Loretta, she's like, I'm so tired. Dew, I can't do it. And he's like, you got to, Loretta. You got to keep paying those bills because I'm not going to work. And he doesn't say all that, but he doesn't want to work. And so she's got to stay up on, you know. And that's when she loses her mind on stage. And she goes, because y'all are my friends. And Dew always says that you're my friends. And so I'm going to talk to y'all. And it's been hard lately, see? And I can hardly keep going and singing these songs. But you know, Patsy, I miss her so much. She was my closest. I shouldn't say all that, but anyway, she loses her mind. But I love when Dew is like sitting on that couch and somebody calls him in the middle of the night. He goes, hello, and she's like, oh my God! You can hear her on the other end of the line. She's screaming, and she's like, is Loretta there? And he's like, no, darling, Loretta's not here right now. She's like, can you tell her I love her? I'll tell her that you love her. She loves you too. Well, all right then. All right. Oh no, it's gonna be okay. I'll tell Loretta that you love her. I can't even imagine. Can you imagine your phone ringing off the hook all day long because Loretta Lynn's your wife? Don't nobody remember Dew, but everybody remembers Loretta Lynn, and that's how it should be. Just like nobody remembers Charlie, but everybody remembers Patsy Cline. Crazy, I'm crazy for feeling so. I love Patsy Cline. Oh my God. Walking After Midnight. Oh my God, I love her. Who is that guy that played her husband in that movie, though? He is so sexy, boots down. Ed, what's his name? Harris. Oh my God. I think he might have been one of the reasons I knew I was gay in high school. I thought Ed Harris was, you want to talk about, man. I was like, he is so, there was a scene where he's in the bathtub. I was like, oh my God. I was like was that in high school? And whenever that movie came out, I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. And his name is Ed Harris. Did you guys know I'm talking about? Oh! And he pulls her into the bathtub. Charlie! What are you doing, Charlie? Oh, that's when he gets out of the army. And she's been living in that house, and he comes home, and she makes him a dinner, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she's so mad at him because he comes home, and he's like, make me a dinner, I'm gonna take me a bath. And then he goes in there, and he pulls her into the bathtub with him because they're forever truly in love, you know. Whatever happened to that kind of stuff? I loved Jessica Lange and Sam Shepard. But my friend and I back in the day, this was long before you kids knew Jessica Lange from Ryan Murphy in American Horror Story. And I do think she is great in American Horror Story, don't get me wrong, but I loved Jessica Lange back in the day. Now, not so much the King Kong days. People are like, King Kong days, yes. She played the second woman that King Kong took. The first one was, what was her name? Fay Ray or something like that. The second one, and that movie used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid, was Jessica Lange. Then Jessica Lange was in Tootsie as well, which I loved. Jessica Lange was in Crimes of the Heart, probably the best she's ever been was in Crimes of the Heart. Oh, maybe a close second was Cape Fear. Loved her in Cape Fear. But anyway, my friend and I, back in the day, the one that I dated for like one hot minute, and then we decided we'd be better friends, and he's a doctor today. Should have married him. Anyway, he lives in the high life. I mean, he does, but he and his boyfriend are real into the Disney and stuff. Like, they go to the Disney World, like, literally, like, 10 times a year. And maybe 20. And I don't really like Disney that much. So, anyway. But anyway, he's a real good friend of mine still to this day. So, anyway, first of all, we had two dreams back in the day, in our youth, in our 20s, before he went to medical school. When he was just a boring chemist that retired at 25. For the rest of his life because he made so much money. We had two dreams. Okay, the first dream was that we were gonna drive across country on Route 66 or whatever, and we were gonna stop at all these diners, and we were gonna try all this coleslaw because we both love coleslaw, and we were gonna write a book, and we were gonna call it Slaws of America. Okay, that was the first dream that we had. While we were on said trip, okay, so it would be like you would go, and it would be like on one side would be a picture of like the diner and the coleslaw and maybe like a biscuit, you know, and like an orange juice or like, I don't know, like an orange soda or something. But it'd be like a real cute little picture, you know, and like a red and white tablecloth and a diner and stuff. And then on the other side, well, maybe we would do that, and then it would be like the food on the left-hand side, you know, like a little basket and all that kind of stuff. And then on the right-hand side in the corner would be a picture of the outside of the building. Don't you love that I'm like coming up with this as if we're gonna still do this book? It's not happening. Anyway, but it would have been a great book. Nobody would have bought it except for maybe Amy Sedaris, but it would have been a great book. So anyway, and then on our road trip cross country, at that time, Jessica Lange and Sam Shepard were living in Minnesota on a farm, and we were going to stop and we were going to smoke a cigarette with Jessica Lange on her front porch. If you've ever seen Jessica Lange in Crimes of the Heart or in Cape Fear, you would understand, well, and probably American Horror Story too, because she smokes in those shows, you would understand why you would have to do that once in your life before you died. That never happened. And Sam Shepard, I think, died, and long before that, they broke up. I'm pretty sure, and because I think I got devastated about it. I don't know. Here's the road again, where the van is. I did like a whole circle all the way around. But anyway, how did I get on all that? Jessica Lange, Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, Coal Miner's Daughter, Slaws of America. Don't you think that's such a good title for a book, Slaws of America? We would literally just sit around and think about those. This gal that I used to work with back in the day when we worked in treatment together, you know what she and I would do on our lunch breaks? She was actually we co-counselor together, and she and I were like she was my first partner before she had her daughter. She were like, so on our lunch breaks, it was just the two of us sitting in there. That was like before we started doing like bigger lunches together. She and I would sit in there, and she would, we would come up with like, if we weren't counselors, what our jobs would be. And she was so hilarious. She would come up with these jobs that she thought were like, she would say, I want I want something peaceful. She was like, I don't want something that's like every day that you come in, it's like you don't know what you're gonna face kind of thing. She's like, I want something really peaceful. And so like the first job that she came up with was that she would work in actually it's the one I just passed, snow shack, you know, where you get the snow cones in the summertime. She'd work in a snow shack. And the other one that I remember her coming up with is that she wanted to be the person that came up with the phrases that they put on church signs, you know. And so like, you know, if you're gonna say Jesus H Christ, don't forget that the H stands for hallelujah, you know, stuff like that. She'd be like the one that came up with all of that. our home group is at this church. And it's so funny because they do have, like, the church has a sign out front, and it has really hilarious, like, sayings on it like that. Like, I can't think of one right now, but it's like, it'll say something like this. It's like, you know, if God's what you're looking for, you might get down on your knees and look under that chair, and while you're down there, pray. It'll say stuff like that. And it's like, Tanya and I laugh every week, you know. Or it'll say, there is no grace without, I don't know, it'll say something like that or whatever. And I'm always like, I remind Tanya, and I'm like, now don't forget, Tanya, there is no this without this. But anyway. So yeah, never a dull moment. I can't believe that this is the same battery that did this to me the last time. It acted like it was not at the halfway mark, and then all of a sudden, because I can't believe I'm almost at an hour and 10 minutes and it hasn't stopped yet. You guys, I bought three new batteries and 3 or 4 new memory cards, and I haven't started using them yet. I know I need to, but they're up in my new cupboard. I like the fact that I have them there and they're stored in case I need them. But what I need to do is I need to get rid of the other 3 bad ones and just keep this good one, because I know that this is one of my new ones, and charge the other 3 and then rotate them out, and then I would have 4 good batteries that would be charged at any given time. But I know what this battery is going to do. It's going to, like, go to the halfway mark and then die, like, and then go right to red, because that's what it does. So I'm going to get off here now so that I can listen to a little bit of my audiobook. It's after midnight. Walking after midnight out in the moonlight, just walking. I don't know the words. I don't remember. If I heard it, I would know the words. I'm kind of one of those singers. Like, if I hear the song, then I know the words. But if I don't hear the song, I don't. So anyway, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And practice random acts of kindness. Reach out to somebody. Most importantly, reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you today. Text them, call them, write them a letter, show up at their doorstep. Not unannounced, though. That's not very nice. Unless you know that they don't mind that you show up unannounced. I don't show up places unannounced because I think you should let somebody know, you know. And then, what else? I can't think. I can't know. And, but anyway. Yeah, practice random acts of kindness. Reach out to somebody. Most importantly, reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you. And finally, you can start your day over whenever you want. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Friday. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a magically amazing beginning to your weekend. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya. And for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, one more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Happy birthday, Lena.